from the bits you saw of him in Perth. Fitzy, what does he do well, the Brazilian? What are his strengths and weaknesses?
Well, he's a typical sort of modern player. He tries to, set up the shorter ball with the serve at times, and he's predominantly a forehand player. He likes to back away and hit the winners from that wing. He's not without some talent. He can hit some extraordinary winners, but over there at least he just committed too many errors. Wasn't quite consistent enough early in the season, and he did struggle a bit at the beginning of sets. Once one set had gone, starting again presented a bit of a problem at times. In a couple of his matches, he dropped away quickly at the beginning of the second set.
Let second serve.
He's only ever won one tour level match on a hard court in his career so far, and that was in Davis Cup against a relatively lowly ranked player. So
(30-15).
beaten by Novak Djokovic here 12 months ago in the quarterfinals was Rublev. You might remember the match he had with Holger Rune in the previous round, where he saved a couple of match points.
Well, danger early. You've got to come out of the blocks fast, don't you, in these matches against good players, or you can't just ease into this first game. You've got to be ready. He's under the pump here.
Yes.
He's done a fair bit of winning on the second tier. He's won 5 challenges so far in his career, all of them on a clay court.
Well, you need to be a pretty solid player to do that. Winning tournaments at any level is not easy, and if you can win them at the challenger level, it means that you should be able to win matches, certainly win matches anyway at the ATP Tour level.
There's Fernando Vicente on Alberto Martin in the coaching department for Andrey Rublev.
Game. Seyboth Wild. First game.
So found the first serve just run required. Yeah, there's a lot of depth to men's tennis these days, isn't there? For the guys ranked 65, it's not what it was 25 or 30 years ago in terms of the amount of players that can play at this level.
Well, I'm certainly not one of those guys that says, oh, back in our day, Nick. There's so many players now. So many countries are involved. Players seem to be able to travel easier. So there's bigger numbers. It's a tough gig.
Yep.
Interesting win predictor. Really? 2-horse race?
Andrey Rublev to serve.
Giving the Brazilian a whole lot of chance, that's for sure. Don't want to get behind in the point too often against Rublev, do you?
No. Well, one thing is for sure, if he gets an opportunity to increase the speed of his racket head, he'll do it. He'll go after a forehand. Not sure that's good tactically there. I'd be shelving that approach to the forehand wing. It's okay. It's a bit one-paced, isn't it, this serve? It tends to go for the same speed all of the time.
Yeah, he was actually talking at the start of the year about the elements of his game that he feels have come on the most, Rublev, and he actually said last season he felt his backhand was the shot that he moved forwards. Well, forehand's always been big, we know that, but he felt as though the backhand has become a more potent shot.
Just interesting, guys. A couple of balls that haven't quite come through to the Brazilian, but what breeze there is here down at courtside is at the Brazilian's back. It's not a windy day, but it's significant enough to affect things out here.
It's the serve he loves. That slider on the juice side. Of course, Alberto Martin on the left, who was actually a new addition last year to Team Rublev. Actually has a degree in psychology, does Martin. He did a fair few weeks.
Well, that's impressive. And that'll make a server stand up and take notice.
I think that's just an example there, Fitzy, where the second serve is sort of hanging. Rublev serving into a little breeze just now. It's hanging there to be hit. Great return, though.
Advantage, Rublev.
A little ambitious.
We talk about racket head speed from Rublev. Gee, there was flames coming off that one.
I think the one thing about the Rublev second serve is that it's predictable. It doesn't move it around the box a whole lot. It's kicker on the ad side and it's tee on the juice. Very rarely do you see him change the second serve. And you can see the Brazilian has done his homework on that regard.
Feathery touch.
Advantage, Seyboth Wild.
Yeah, nice late change of the grip.
It was. Yeah. Surprise.
Game, Seyboth Wild.
And there is the early break for the 23-year-old.
Seyboth leads 2 games to none.
As you may just have heard the umpire when he was just giving out some instructions. There's a new rule here this year
Thank you, ladies and
that
gentlemen.
fans are allowed to come in on even games. So that's why there's a fair bit of movement.
Yeah, I think it's okay now. I mean, if it gets too much, I will say something. But if it gets too much, I will say something. But like this, it's okay.
I guess the only problem with that is when you have a long game, because then you've got people, the queues then are somewhat longer. You've got more people streaming down, but
I think it's something that has to happen, though.
yeah,
I mean, to not let
Not 15.
the public in until the end of the 3rd game,
yeah.
it blocks them out of nearly half a set at times, and they deserve to come in and watch.
Yeah.
It's got to be a little bit of feel, I guess.
Yeah, I agree.
Paying customers.
Yeah, you want to keep them happy, right?
Love 30.
And there's a lot of paying customers today, judging by the amount of people out there.
Did you see those crowds out there on a Sunday, Nick?
Yeah, I mean,
Thought Cole Fleming wasn't going to make it. He was.
well, after he'd signed all those autographs as well.
I know.
VIP lane, fellas.
I think they think he's a movie star or something.
15-30.
The kilt will do that.
Well, when he gets set on the forehand, he's not afraid, is he? He's prepared to really go after it. He's being rushed, though. You know, it might be a bit to do with what Colin said about a little bit of breeze at the back of Wild here from the northern end, and it's pushing the ball through a bit quicker. And Rublev has been late 5 or 6 times on that forehand.
Let the serve.
There it is again.
Yeah, I think, guys, it's probably a combination of things, isn't it? I mean, the court is definitely not slow, that's for sure. But you know, the ball speed from Wild is impressive. Rublev playing his first match, but yeah, there's no doubt he's with the wind, the Brazilian, and it's definitely helping him here.
Use. Let the serve.
I'm not even sure Rublev heard that. He was walking.
The pain of it all.
how that serve moved away from Rublev. He just wasn't able to get behind the ball here. Posing himself nicely.
Well, I think they're the big points, aren't they? To finish a game, you know, if he ends up losing this now, that becomes a 2-game swing. I mean, he should have put that ball away. You know, Rublev, for all of his magnificent hitting, he is a little bit one-dimensional sometimes, isn't he? He plays at the same speed, just tries to overpower opponents. Most of his returns are similar. Doesn't float any balls back deep. He hits everything. You sort of know what's coming, even if you can. If you can avoid being overpowered, you do sort of know what's coming.
Advantage in Seyboth Wild. Game.
Oh, good depth.
Seyboth Wild.
And a very good start from the 23-year-old Brazilian, who has secured the opening 3 games. Conditions seemingly perhaps a little quicker this year. Is that the word on the street?
Oh, I think so, Nick. It appears that way, and I don't know whether the quickness of the balls is contributing to that, but I think generally speaking, the surfaces on most of these courts, which are made differently, they're handmade in terms of speed, and so they're not going to be exactly the same every single court. But yeah, and especially in the middle of the day when the temperature's a bit higher, the sun's out, these conditions will increase in speed. So early on, before players get used to the speed, maybe some of them will be a bit rushed, as it appears, I think, Rublev has been here. Getting used to the speed coming onto the racket.
Yeah, I think the Brazilian's actually going to get a racket sent away here. Get a restring. Or maybe a regrip, one or the other. Whatever, coach is going to sort it out. So to your point, Fitzy, about adding layers to his game, how difficult is that going to be at his stage of his career? And how difficult is it when you're 5 in the world and you're making millions of dollars every year to then look yourself in the mirror and say, I've got to improve?
Yeah. Well, his game may well be just set in stone.
30 love.
And he's 26 years of age. He's not a veteran by any means, but he's been playing this way for a lot of years, Nick. So it is hard in a way to imagine how he can become more versatile. And you know, this style of game has got him to quarterfinals time and time again.
Yep.
But maybe this style of game has stopped him going past the quarterfinals. And players at the top echelon of the sport, they sort of know what to expect, don't they?
Yeah, the one quarter-final that he actually said hurt the most was the defeat to Cilic at the quarters of the French last year. You look at who he's lost to, and he's lost to some elite players in those major quarter-finals. But the one against Cilic, not saying he's not elite, but it was a match that he felt he should have won that day. That was the one that hurt the most. Final set breaker, I think it was, if memory serves. Colin, you saw a lot of Rublev last year in terms of him playing. Where do you feel he can add layers to his game?
No, I mean, I agree with you guys. I think that can be his downfall when he meets the very top players. Just trying to add a bit more variety, isn't it? But I think where he did improve last year was mentally. I think that's been his downfall in some of those quarterfinals where he can almost be his own worst enemy and just unravel a little bit. But this will be interesting today, you know, the similarities in these two game styles. Both of these guys are just looking for forehands, looking to hit the ball as hard as they can. Is Rublev going to be able to just add enough sort of nuance to his game? I mean, okay, maybe he's just going to be better than Wild over the 5 sets here, but can he bring enough variety, just mix up the speeds, the spins, maybe come in a little bit that he doesn't often do, just to make the difference here?
I'm just not sure nuance is in his repertoire. You know, he's a bludgeoner of the tennis ball, isn't he? And I agree with Cole. I mean, if he could just vary the speed a little bit, just give the opposition something different sometimes, hit the ball higher with loop at times, and he certainly doesn't, you know, take much off that racket head speed of his too often.
There's a nice little sneak.
$15-14.
Pretty casual, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Let for serve. Game Rublev.
The forehand this time misfiring for the Brazilian. It certainly seems as though this end is a little simpler to play from. The majority of the game has been won from here, 3-2. One of the most intense competitors there is in the men's game, and as Colin alluded to, it's channeling those emotions that can sometimes overwhelm him.
You know, I find sometimes sitting on the side of the court watching him live, he's like a volcano, isn't he? Waiting to explode at times, and maybe that's what Cole was referring to. He's maybe controlled his emotions a bit over the last 12 months, and that can only be good for him, I would have thought, because the guys that explode, yes, it's okay to channel a bit of anger as long as you channel it in the right direction, but while you're playing. But if it starts being channeled in the wrong direction, gee, it can have a detrimental effect.
Yeah, there's that lovely phrase, isn't there, that goes, you can't control when a negative thought's going to come in your head, but you can control when it goes out of your head. And that is so pertinent to this sport, isn't it?
Yeah.
$15.
Well, that's just the wrong choice of shot. He just picked the wrong ball to hit there, and
30 love.
first of all, if you drop it short, it's dangerous, but to the forehand, he was there at the top of the apex almost, Rublev, and that was a simple put away.
One thing both these players have in common was that both parents were coaches. Seyboth Wild's father actually ran a tennis academy. He was the man who got him into the sport. We know Rublev's mum, of course, is still a coach in Moscow.
Well, he's found his feet a little bit, hasn't he, Andrey? He was a little shaky at the start, mistiming particularly a few of those forehands, but seems to have settled.
(40-30). Game, Rublev.
So 3 successive games for the world number 5.
3 games all.
Nick, I really feel that Thiago can stay with Andrey for a period of time in rallies, but can he maintain it is the question for me, because his upside is in some ways just as good. We've seen some sensational winners here so far, but can he avoid dropping off the standard, off that pace? Is the question for me.
Yeah, it's that tolerance level, isn't it?
Yeah.
Can you stay? Can you maintain your level?
Now 15.
And when you hit that ball at warp 5, can you keep it in the court often enough to get the value out of it? Gee, that's a low percentage shot too, isn't it? I mean, I know he makes it a lot, Rublev, that type of forehand, but for most players around the world, that's a tough one to make time and time again.
Yeah, especially if a ball that low fits it as well. And that's something I think a lot of people would like to see him introduce into his game. That little ability just to get in. The grounders are so big that he can take advantage of this.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can see there, you know, the way he even hit that forehand means that he doesn't have a lot of versatile ability on the volleys either. He chooses to hit what he feels safe with, the topspin, when the ball's up above the height of the net. But he's effective.
15-14.
Yeah, I remember the match he played against Medvedev at the Tour Finals in November in Turin, and he came in a lot in the early stages of the match and used that drive volley as much as he could, and then was deterred from it.
I don't think feel and touch is his
30-14.
Forte.
Not his forte, not in his thought processes either. There's that low one again, just trying to bludgeon it. It's tough to hit it up over the high part of the net from there.
Use.
6th forehand winner already.
It's new. Yeah, but you have to take it before. Can't always give you extra time for this.
This is, of course, the game when the balls are at their oldest.
Advantage, Seyboth Wild. Game, Seyboth Wild.
So avoids losing a 4th straight game.
Seyboth Wild leads 4 games to
The
3.
Brazilian able to get himself back in front in these early stages. There's a good look at the tennis balls. Much discussion around that over the last couple of years in terms of just the sort of variety of tennis balls that these guys are playing with different weeks. Was it like that in your day? Was that how's this come about?
We were just happy to get new balls.
So, yeah. These guys are spoiled, right?
Well, you know that it was the same then. There were lighter brands and there were heavier ones, and
Yeah, but these guys play with spin, Fitzy. Come on.
Time.
don't be nasty down there, Cole. I hate to admit how right you are. These guys have a tighter restring too, Nick. And certainly what I used to play with, gee.
Yeah, it's a different world, isn't it?
Yeah.
Technologically wise, anyway.
Well, it's a different game. You know, the swing patterns are different. The rackets and string are so much more advanced. So I think Cole Fleming sitting on the court surface will notice a big difference here, though, with these new balls. They'll be a lot quicker and bouncier and faster through the air.
Yeah, just on that point, guys, it's an interesting one, isn't it? Just the evolution of the technology, the strings, the way the game's played. We're obviously still on a 7 and 9 ball change. I wouldn't be surprised to see that change in the next year or two to maybe a 5 and 7, something like that. The balls are getting so chewed up now. Obviously, we know matches are getting longer. I wouldn't be surprised to see that getting looked at in the near future.
Yeah, the ATP just announced a review into it, haven't they? I'm going to look at it. Not quite sure what that means, but there'll be complaints have been heard loud enough.
40-15.
There's no doubt, though, Fitzy, as you said, that Rublev's enjoying the new balls here. He's obviously at the end with a bit of breeze as well, and yeah, he's liking it on the serve.
Game, Rublev. 4 games off.
Based down in Spain for many years now, in Barcelona. Well, there's Andrey Rublev.
Even his practice swings, Nick, he's practicing accelerating the racket head speed, isn't he? Rublev. That's his go-to tactic. He hits it really hard, and if it doesn't work, he hits it harder.
15 up.
Yeah, that win in Monte Carlo last spring was a big one for him. Biggest title of his career down in at the beautiful country club down there. First Masters 1000 title. Worst places to do it, Fitzy.
Oh. Yeah, what a club that is. I haven't been for a long time now, but we had the joy and the privilege of playing there many years ago, and it was incredible. On the Mediterranean, beautiful views.
Yeah, prestigious spot.
That for serve.
There's never any indication that he wants to just chip a return back, is there? Just to get it into play. It's always a heavy swing at the ball, no matter how big the serve is. His first serve is reasonably effective, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Continues to frustrate the world number 5 out here in this opening set. He's played a good one so far.
Leads 5 games to 4.
As he stays ahead. Well, Fitzy was referencing the amount of people that have made their way into the grounds today. Don't have an official number on it, but it's certainly busy.
Yeah, there were massive lineups outside this morning, and yeah, these are all the people that are not in stadium courts at the moment. It's certainly back, Nick. The event, you know, it's been through COVID. It's suffered at the hands of that for a while. But this year, I think, is the one that really cements the return of all the crowds and the huge event that this tournament is.
Yeah, I think you were telling me that pre-tournament ticket sales were well up on last year.
Well up, yep.
That's encouraging.
Please. Thank you, sir. Please, can you take a seat?
He picked up the drop shot early. Was able to make him pay for it.
15 now.
Yeah, I'm not sure he should go across court with this drop shot, though. I mean, look how high the ball is when Rublev gets there. That's easy, and it allows him to swing at his favourite shot.
Let for serve.
Certainly likes to play a lot of weeks. If you look at the players in the top 10, only Zverev last year played more weeks than Rublev, and of course the German was playing catch-up after his return from injury. There's a 1-2 combination.
40 love.
And has paid a lot of bills.
Very subtle, Nick. Well said.
Again, Rublev. 5 games all.
Is he a major winner in your eyes? From what you've been saying in the last 45 minutes, you're not sure.
No, I'm not convinced. I think he does need a little bit of evolution in his game to be able to beat 2 or 3 of the great players at the end of the tournament. I'm not sure what you and Cole think, but I think there is a reason why
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. The players, please take your seats.
I think there is a reason why he's stopped at the quarterfinal level several times, a lot of times now. I'm actually a believer in, or I like the thought of having more major winners, Nick. I don't know if I'm in the minority necessarily, but it's been great to see so many of these great players over the last sort of 20 years dominate. It's a great era to watch, but I do like having more winners at the major level. And for a guy like Rublev, it'd be great to see him win one.
15 all.
Certainly been very few winners outside of Europe, haven't there? There's that remarkable statistic. I think is it 77 of the last 78 majors have been won by Europeans. Obviously, a lot of that down to Djokovic, Nadal and Federer, but Del Potro, of course, the odd man out there. A man that did break that mold.
$15.30.
I'm keen to hear what Cole Fleming thinks about whether Rublev can go all the way. And I mean, he's 26 years of age now. His game's pretty set.
No, I mean, I would agree with you, Fitz here. I mean, he's a very good player, isn't he? It's not out with the realms of possibility that he could win one, but I think it's unlikely. You know, Djokovic obviously still around, has had his number in big matches, and that's a great shot there. But I look at the likes of Alcaraz and Sinner and almost feel like their games have kind of already surpassed them. They're past them in the rankings, but they've got that just extra layer or two to their games. I think that Rublev could maybe you know, strive for or look to add, but certainly hasn't done yet.
Yeah, and we talk about looking at your game's development. Jannik Sinner's a great example. Last year, looked at the serve, wasn't good enough, so had to make the changes, and the improvements came as a result.
There you go.
Looking in the mirror.
Yeah.
With the right people behind him, obviously.
And you know that Novak is still trying to improve. For sure he is. So, yeah, a bit of extra, a layer or two, as Cole says, is what's needed, I think, for Rublev. But, yeah, he's already pretty darn good, isn't he? His best tennis is pretty good, isn't it, though? The young Brazilian saves a break point with an extraordinary backhand down the line. Well, maybe exceptional rather than extraordinary, but it was one heck of a shot.
Advantage,
He's
Rublev.
had some issues with that second serve, defending that second serve right now, isn't he? 6 of 16. There've been 3 doubles in there, so that number's a little bit skewed.
Again, Rublev.
And this time the forehand fails him. And they like that look of that, because Rublev is in front for the first time here and will serve for the first. Amazing though, isn't it, that we're talking about a guy who's 5 in the world and we're having a discussion that he can't probably win a major. So,
well, yeah.
How does that, in many ways, it doesn't kind of add up, does it?
No, it doesn't. Look, I would never say he can't win one, but I just think that, you know, the guys that Cole mentioned are, well, there are 2 of them that are coming, and there's a few others in the wings that have a bit more repertoire. And what he does incredibly well, this man. But if his style of game is not winning on the day, what does he go to? I think the great players really can adapt.
Time.
You know, handle the matchup against the opposition, the style of opposition they're playing on the day, and adapt their game accordingly. And so that for me has always been the question mark for Andrey. His best tennis is awfully good, and he's going to win a lot of matches and beat a lot of opposition. But at the business end of a major, it's a slightly different story.
The business end of this first set, he's looking to close it out.
50 now.
I think if he could balance the winners and the unreturnables he hits during the rallies with maybe lessening the number of easy mistakes he makes to counteract that. That's the probably the goal for him. Gee, he gets away with that one. Plays a conventional volley this time because he had to, couldn't swing at it at all, and comes up with the goods.
Yeah, that was an excellent first volley, wasn't it? From a defensive position.
Game at first set, Rublev.
Wrestled control in the end of a set that he was in some trouble in. The 5th seed after 50 minutes leads 7-5. So Andrey Rublev looking to build on that opening set. What a pass that is.
I mean, this wasn't a bad volley. He probably didn't put quite enough forward speed on it in retrospect, but not a bad one. Just too good on the pass.
Yeah, if you're going to serve to the forehand, it's probably going to directionally going to have to be better than that, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah, it's got to make him stretch a little bit, doesn't it? I mean, in that hitting zone is a dangerous place to be.
30-15.
Winner of this match will take on either Chris Eubanks or Taro Daniel. Of course, Eubanks, the Wimbledon quarter-finalist last summer. What a run that was for the American.
Yeah.
Bringing back some old school tennis there, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's an interesting player.
Some injuries to contend with in the last couple of months, as Chris.
Little miss it there. You saw the apology.
30-all.
Just panicked a bit there, didn't he?
Yeah, and that'll cost you games.
30-40. Deuce. Advantage, Rublev.
The ideal start to set number 2 for the man who made his way to the last 8 12 months ago.
Second set.
Well, I think Rublev showed signs there, Nick, that he might step it up a notch or two here. He made more balls, less errors here, and found his mark a little bit. And an early break is sort of a trend that I saw with Thiago in Perth. An early trend in the second set where he put all that energy into the first one, didn't come up trumps, and if he drops off a fraction here, just a couple of percentage points, there's trouble afoot.
A slightly more truncated format at the United Cup this year. Was it a success, Fitzy, in your eyes?
Oh, I think so. Yeah, big crowds, great success. It helped that the Australian team did well. It helped to have Novak Djokovic playing in the event, and it helped to have an outstanding couple of semi-finals and final in Sydney.
Absolutely. In Germany, the last team standing. Some final, wasn't it?
15-all.
To me, it's balls like that he needs to make more of. Rublev, you know, it's just too easy to stand and deliver on that ball with a low percentage and miss it.
Net.
And if you give those points away against the best players, they'll be all over you.
Wait, please.
Can you pick it up, please?
And again, find a way. Novak wouldn't do that. Novak would make that ball. He wouldn't hit a winner necessarily, of course, off it, but he wouldn't give away a free point. To me, that's the difference. Well, when you compare to Novak, there's many differences, but certainly that percentage is important.
Djokovic begins his campaign tonight. 28 match wins in a row here in Melbourne for the world number one.
It is staggering, isn't it, what he has done in the men's game. Hard to comprehend.
He's the standard bearer in terms of where everybody else needs to try and be at. Continuing to raise the bar. Really diffused the power aggressively.
Rublev leads 2 games to that.
That one there.
It was effective, wasn't it? It just skimmed the net enough and stayed low. It was the perfect hovercraft.
Good old squash shot, we like to call them.
But you played that a bit, didn't you?
I did, yes. For many years in my younger days.
Used to take Fleming down on the squash court, did you?
Never actually had a game, but we'll try and arrange it.
Clever ball.
50 now.
Yeah, not sure my knees are up to squash anymore, Fitzy. Bit of pressure there.
Look, I've got news for you. It doesn't get better.
I thought you were going to say, I'll get some new ones. I was going to say. So he's on the board. But he finds himself a set and a breakdown here. Does the 23-year-old from Brazil. There was a Brazilian winner last year of the Junior US Open, João Fonseca, who's very highly thought of. Just making his way, transitioning to the Challengers, so it'll be interesting to see his progress and how he goes. I remember speaking to Bruno Suarez a couple of years ago about Fonseca, and even then he said this young kid's going to be very good, so perhaps one to look out for this season. A couple of 18-year-old qualifiers, weren't there, here in Melbourne? One of them, of course, plays Djokovic this evening. It'll
Be a nervous young man, won't he?
Yeah.
But what an experience for him. What a stepping stone in his career.
Yeah, Dino Prismic, isn't it? Croatian.
It's outside the Margaret Court Arena that this match is being played in, and we're sitting inside, air-conditioned comfort, watching.
So far, that's going according to plan.
Oh, yes, sir. Well, didn't you know it? He wasn't going to decelerate on that overhead.
15 out.
He knows no other way, and he hits this to perfection on this occasion. Good high lob. Asked him the question. I don't know about you, but I used to find that almost the most difficult shot. Backing away and hitting that with controlled inside in down that line. That's a hard ball, I think.
Yeah.
High part of the net, you've got less distance to work with.
The margin for error is low. Because you've also got to think about your recovery, haven't you? In terms of how much court you're actually leaving exposed. He's made a conscious effort to try and pressurize the second serve, hasn't he? Done a pretty good job of that.
Yeah, Nick, I think that's something you have to be prepared to do against Andrey Rublev. You know, once he gets set in the rally, you can be in a bit of trouble with the power he possesses. But just a few times Rublev's looked a little sluggish when Wiltz attacked the second serve, got the ball at him quickly.
Going to be able to do anything from that far back.
Rublev leads 3-1.
Rublev looking to be well in control here now.
Seats, please. Thank you. Out 59.
That was beautifully played.
It was.
39.
I love the way there was no backswing on that backhand volley. He just used the pace. Excellent serve. Just no backswing. Just presented the ball with the face of the racket.
30-15.
certainly see ball, hit ball, isn't it? There's not a lot of thought, it seems, in some of these rallies anyway. Maybe that's a bit unfair, but gee, it's all out hitting.
What were you saying?
And if it goes in, it's a bit too good, mate. Yeah, there was no deceleration there, I've got to admit.
I mean, the timing on that's impressive, isn't it, alone? Because he's inside the baseline there and he's impeccable.
And I guess that power, I mean, the advantage he has, if he makes a lot of those balls, the power just overruns a lot of opponents, and you end up missing balls that, or more balls than you would against the normal power of the opposition. So there's reason. Even a shot like that, I mean, if you're Build, you have reason to believe you're going to get another shot here. That's not a bad ball he hits there. And again, reasonably deep. You'd think you'd get your racket on the ball again. But out of nowhere, the power of Rublev can just take the point away from you. He's got to be careful here, though.
Advantage, Rublev.
Good catch by the ball boy.
Didn't know you brought some English over.
Steady on. Let's not talk about cricket now. You'd be a brave man in this country to do that.
Wouldn't dare.
But it's dangerous, isn't it, Nick? Right here for him.
He's on the brink here, isn't he?
Rublev. Rublev leads 4 games to 1.
So a double fault. I'm getting a toweling off from Fitzy, and it's 4-1.
Oh, I wouldn't dare.
Touched the nerve there, did I, Fitzy?
Oh dear.
Thought you won the World Cup last month, wasn't it? Didn't I see that?
I thought you just knew the way to my heart, not the way to my nervous centre.
We won't bring Colin into the conversation because...
well, do the Scots know anything about cricket?
Well, they've got to get rid of the snow. It takes long enough to get rid of the snow first before you can see the pitch. I mean,
guys, it's -6 at home right now. We're not playing cricket in that's for sure.
no. Although you do get fit, though, Cole, shoveling all the snow.
That's it, mate. You've got to break the ice off the lock before you dive in as well.
Tell you what, they've got some good Highland distilleries up there, mate. Don't knock them.
Yeah.
Time.
Got control of this right now as the number 5 player in the world.
Yeah, he's broken the sort of the fence down, hasn't he? I think he struggled for a while to gain his momentum and he gain his feet, so to speak. But with the double break here, the writing is on the wall for the Brazilian. It's going to be hard for him to make a stand. Let's see what he's got.
59.
And of course, that double break just allows Rublev to really open his shoulders now and play with the flair that he possesses on the ground strokes.
It's
not been a match that has been littered with particularly long exchanges, not been physical. There's been a lot of that.
40-15.
Well, I'm imagining that Wild just feels, look, if I don't go for it, he's going to. A bit of finesse. That was a nice change to see.
Rublev leads by 5 games to 1.
Give me a lot more of those after the fortnight is done, because the modern day players sliding on a hard court is just comes so naturally and so instinctively to the younger generation.
You okay?
Yeah, that was the issue he had on the previous serve. You can see there, just knocked his own knee, I think, on the follow through.
Fills it up. It up.
Gee, the rallies are short, aren't they?
And on the top right there, Garlo Blanco. John Morris in the background, the agents of Andrey Rublev. They have a bespoke agency that they set up about a year or so ago. Svitolina Kazakina also in that camp, brokering the deals behind the scenes. So he's doubled his tally.
Rublev leads 5 games to
23-year-old, and has got to find a break to avoid going down 2 sets to love. Good news for this guy in terms of post-Australian Open, as there's a nice 4-week block, isn't there, in South America, the Golden Swing on the clay, that I'm sure he'll be part of. There's a self-inflicted injury.
Was that from the butt of the racket, do you think? Because that can be a little painful. I mean, that's doesn't look a big deal there, but it could be some bone bruising if you jab it with or hit it with, and you can tell that he's still flexing it there, so he's feeling it.
Yep.
Maybe the butt of the racket jamming into the bone.
Love 15.
Brilliant touch from the Brazilian.
Love 30.
Didn't seem to get his feet arranged, did he? Just got planted.
I just wonder if that previous point will re-energise the Brazilian as well. He got a little flat, the crowd had as well. He's now getting some support, might just start to make a few shots again now.
Well, a break to love that in many ways has come out of nowhere here.
Rublev leads 5 games to 3.
And it's kept this second set with a little bit of intrigue about it.
He's lifted, hasn't he? And he needed some lifting.
50 love.
I think inspired himself a little bit with some pretty impressive shot making in the last 5 minutes here.
That's the play that if he feel he can just bring into his game a little bit more, it might be a difference maker.
59.
Because you can see the danger and the openings that he has off it. Is it a case, Fitzy, of building trust in the volleys? Is it a case of him looking for it more often? Is it the transition? Which of those?
I think it's more about using it more in matches and having it become a regular part of your repertoire, really.
50-30.
We don't seem to do it too often. And the volleys are not played with a lot of feel. He needs to. He would need to spend more time up there. It's not the foundation of his game, is it? It's just like an addition for him.
Yep. Man in the blue cap there. I think it's Marcelo de Molina, a Brazilian doubles player. Certainly looks like him.
Well,
he has served a double. They've generally been in the net, haven't they? He hasn't been able to get up to it. Collapsing on it, and that's causing him more problems.
Yeah, it just looks from courtside, Nick, that now and again the ball toss gets a little far forward on the first and the second, and I agree with you, the miss is more often in the net, isn't it?
Because it came back on him extremely quickly, but he was alert. Redirected this perfectly. Two games, that'll be a real source of encouragement for the 23-year-old from Brazil, who is still in this second set. He does require, though, another break. 5-4. The good tennis has come in fits and starts, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been good the last 10 minutes, though, Nick. The Brazilian there really lifted his game and showed us some flair. That backhand volley was one of the better shots we've seen in this match so far. Good skill. Rublev wanted that game too. He wanted to break and start serving in the third.
Time.
It's only Seyboth Wild's fourth meeting with a top 10 player, his second in the space of a couple of weeks though, because as Fitzy mentioned, he played Hubie Hurkacz at the United Cup 10 days or so ago now. And his experience against these elite players is limited.
He's coming with a rush here now, though. Rublev needs to be careful. And he's shown from the beginning of this match that he's prepared to go after the second serve of Rublev if that presents itself.
Just got caught a little deep in the rally early on, didn't he, and wasn't able to rescue that position.
He's used that 3 or 4 times on relatively big occasions, and I think he's made the mistake each time, Wild, where he's chosen to hit the drop shot, which probably wasn't the right choice of shot, and he went across court every time, straight to the forehand. Was closer to winning that point maybe, but I'm not sure that's the play he should use.
And you do wonder if it's as well whether actually following it in might have done him a favour, because he's then sort of in his face a bit more, isn't he? Rublev, as he gets there, has got a lot of court to work with.
Yeah. It makes the space smaller if you move forward after it. So Rublev now just 2 points from the set.
14-15.
The best in the business at that sort of play. He's had to work perhaps a little harder than he might have liked. But he's on the brink of a 2-set lead. The world number 5 is 1 set away from the second round here in Melbourne. He leads by 2 sets to love.
I think the discussion's quite similar to the one we've been having about Rublev. Maybe just at not quite the same level, but he's a shot maker. I think Fitzy's hit the nail on the head a number of times. The decision making has been a little questionable, but also just maybe trying to add a little bit more variety. He's come in and hit some nice volleys at times, but it's been few and far between. I think he's going to try and look at having a few more ways to win points on a hard court.
Important to have a variety of ways that you can actually win points, and the drop shot is obviously one that he wants to use, but on this surface it's not quite as conducive to use, and on a clay court it is. So maybe he's decided to use it a few times here because it's in his normal way of playing, but chosen the wrong time. He's not far away though here, you know, like if his service percentage is up reasonably high, it gives him a lot of opportunity on his forehand. But once it gets into that rally, you know, Rublev, as you would expect, will win the majority of the points because that's what he's so good at. That's why he's ranked 5, and that's the strength in his game. So if you get caught in that situation with him, you're going to be pushing uphill. He's got to try and get the first good hit in, does Wild.
Put him in a part of the court that he didn't want to be in.
Well, Fitzy, that's your point, isn't it?
Yeah.
Where I know it wasn't a drop shot, but how much harder is that ball in his backhand than running and whipping a forehand? I think when he does use a drop shot, he's got to, I agree with you, he's got to play it to the other side and make Rublev come up with answers on his backhand.
He didn't look real skillful there, did he, Andre, moving forward? That was a poor attempt at a slice, so... Yep. Can't agree with you more.
On.
And here we go again. The first game of the new set is so important, and you can't let that concentration level drop. He seems a bit prone to do that, Thiago.
40-30.
That's a way to consolidate.
Fourth ace.
Deuce. Advantage is Seyboth Wild. Deuce.
Impeccable depth, wasn't it? Not only was it early, but it was the length really that did for him. Just suffocated for time.
Advantage for Seyboth Wild.
Gutsy second serve there. Possibly feels like he's been hurt a little bit on the first return of serve off his second delivery, so he really went after that.
Yeah, he's at an interesting stage of his career, the Brazilian, because where he's ranked around the kind of 75, 80 mark, he's got some decisions to make, isn't he? Does he go only tour level now, going forwards? Obviously, you're still going to play some challenges. You know, where is the sort of the conversation? I remember Milos Raonic saying recently that he felt that a lot of players, they kind of get stuck at challenger level too long. They get comfortable there. Would you agree with that, do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I think the aspiration has to be to move higher. It has to be. If you're content with staying at that challenger level, you know, you've got to be a good player to be at the challenger level in a global sport like this. But if you're content to remain there, then you've lost your ambition to be as good as you can be, I guess. Good effort to get out of that game. Served well.
I think just off the back of that, Fitzy, as well, I think, you know, his improvements, certainly to me, are mental, a little bit of focus, concentration at times, like you've said, but also, you know, mainly tactical. Just his decision making, you know, in terms of the serve, the forehand, the backhand, you know, he's a good player. He's got a lot of game, but I think testing himself against better players more often is only going to be a good thing for him long term. You know, to come in to the slams, you know, in a better position to try and you know, put a run together. So I think getting on the tour as often as possible can only be a good thing for him.
And Colin, is there value in terms of being around those better players as well at tour level? I.e., obviously you're taking a bit more of a risk because it's a higher standard, but you're getting to practice with these guys. You're getting a feel for what it takes to be a top 50 player.
Yeah, it's everything that comes with it. It's not just the matches, it's the practice sets, even the discussions you're having off court, you know, in the locker room, maybe with a top player every now and again. You just start to operate that level. I think he's got the game to go higher in the rankings, that's for sure.
Certainly a lot more money in the game these days, and there are more players that are making a living than there ever were.
It's a couple of times, Nick, you've referred to the prize money on tour. Do we need to have a little chat here or something? It's all good, mate.
I was going to say you're Scottish, and I want to know what you're renowned for from your country. So,
hey, the Scottish pound's worth the same. It's worth the same.
I feel like I'm going to have to step in the middle here in a minute. Yeah, I agree. I think his top-end game is good enough to play at the tour level. But from what I've seen over the last 3 weeks, he drops off a fraction too far when he's not playing at his best. So there's slightly too big a gap between his best tennis and his worst tennis. If he can bring that worst tennis up a notch or two, he'll be competitive.
Yep. Yeah, first round prize money, just to confirm that, 120,000 Aussie dollars this year.
Well, that's not as strong as the Scottish pound, let me tell you.
Tell you what, in any currency, that's some pretty good numbers.
Yeah. Well, he stands and he delivers, doesn't he? And that can be intimidating if you're not used to playing against this sort of power at the challenger level. When it comes at you at the first round of a major, it can put you on the back foot.
Net for serve.
Return left him very exposed.
Love 30.
And Rublev on the charge again.
$15.30. $15.40.
How often has he been rushed, particularly off that second serve? Left with so little time to produce anything. It's opened the door once again for the world number 5.
$30.40.
There's such a fine line, though, isn't there? Yes, he's up 30-40 in this game, but he's just given 2 free points away. So there's a fine line between that ball being a winner and a loser.
Well, he got away with it.
He shouldn't have. No. He shouldn't have really got away with that one, Nick. I think it was telegraphed a little bit too much. He just went the wrong way, Rublev. Didn't use his peripheral vision quite well enough.
Advantage for Seyboth.
Wonderful combination. And this time it's the backhand that delivers the final blow.
I think it'd sort of be interesting to try and coach him, wouldn't it? Because I'm not quite sure how you'd approach it, coaching Rublev, because you know that his strength is just smashing the ball, but it also can be his weakness.
Well, he hung around in the backhand corner and he got his reward because of it.
Advantage, Seyboth Wild. Deuce.
Yeah, just to go back to the prize money point, of course, the additional income is also allowing a lot of these players to bring more team members on board, isn't it? When you've got that much income coming in, you can invest in yourself a bit more, Fitzy, which obviously is crucial to your development.
Well, I think that's why the teams that they talk about, you know, the entourage have generally grown bigger. Well, there's the fine margin. One's in the fence, one's a cold winner. Well, not quite in the fence. He's missed a few by a metre this game, but the same type of shot, and he hits a winner. So he's difficult to play against.
Just misjudgment with the feet. Was it the wind that held it up there?
Yeah, just the breeze got him. That ball really held up and he didn't get up to it at all.
Second serve.
Seems like a must-win game, doesn't it, for Seyboth Wild here? He has to hang on to this game, you would expect.
Advantage Seyboth Wild.
Yeah, close to 7 minutes now.
So I think that's a Grand Slam quarter finalist. The Grand Slam finalist wouldn't give those free points away, I don't think. I think that's where the difference lies for Andrey.
Deuce.
He's in a fairly loaded section of the draw here. We mentioned the potential to face Chris Eubanks in the next round. Seb Korda is the scheduled first seed that Rublev would face. Of course, Korda played very well here last year.
Advantage Seyboth Wild.
To me, this just isn't cerebral tennis. You know, it's just full-on hitting as hard as you can without a lot of process.
Deuce.
Utilising that backhand up the line a little bit more. That can very often bring his forehand into play, can't it? Which is the added bonus of executing that particular shot.
It is easy to sit here and criticise, isn't it? Because this style of game has got Andrey to the place he's at. He's 5 in the world. He's awfully good, isn't he?
Advantage Seyboth Wild.
But is it the anchor that just holds him back as well?
One of the longest games of the match so far, but it's the 23-year-old that prevails in it to maintain his lead here in the third set. More time he can spend out there as well with somebody of the caliber of Rublev, the more he's going to learn about his own game as well, Fitzy, isn't it? And there's value in just being out there, just understanding what you've got to improve, what you've got to get better at.
He's a good player, Nick. I mean, he's in the Australian Open main draw. That says that's a reason to start thinking that way. He's only 23 years of age, and he's really come up the rankings in the last 6 to 12 months. So he can play, and the more he plays at this level, you're right, the better he'll be.
Part of a youthful top 10 right now. In fact, 8 of the top 10 seeds in the men's draw this week are under the age of 26. Was the world #1, bucking the trend. It's still very much setting the pace. And there's a good look at those pressure points that have been won so far.
Love the thing.
Yeah, there they are. You can see that the Brazilian has been able to win a few more of those. Of course, they're all break points, and points that can lead to a break are counted as pressure points. And that's where those numbers come from. And also all tie-break points where the player is within 2 points of each other. That's defined as a pressure point.
Just stumbling a little bit here, Andrey.
30-40.
Had a chance to break in the previous game. Wild, desperate to try and prolong this match.
It is a third break of the Rublev serve, and could be a significant one in terms of the direction of this match.
And if you can get the ball short and low to either side of Rublev, he's not the same player. I mean, he's still dangerous with that swinging forehand, but he misses a lot of balls when you go not with a drop shot, but short and low with a slice. He doesn't seem to have the same ability from that position in the court. So it's just a matter of whether you get enough chances to take the speed off that ball, because he's pinned you down with his power a lot of the time.
The issue for him as well has been consolidating the breaks. He has been able to get one. He's not been able to back it up necessarily.
He's just looking slightly more relaxed as well, the Brazilian. You know, maybe being 2 sets down, he's almost just freed him up in a way. You almost become slightly accepting your fate, just to open the shoulders and
Nothing to lose.
Yeah, serving better as well. There's a freedom to the way he's operating now. It's got a little cooler as well, a bit of cloud cover. Feels like it's dropped a few degrees, so yeah, just a slightly different feel to the match at this moment.
You're starting to feel more at home down there, Cole?
Yeah, it's
temperature dropping?
Right up my street.
It's still about 25 degrees Celsius more than it is in his home, though.
There's no need to be like that. Come on.
That was a hot return.
30 all.
It's a weapon, isn't it? The forehand, no doubt.
40-30.
It's a fine effort. And it'll been easy to drop his head down 2 sets to love, but he's hung on in there. And he's threatening to cut the deficit in half here. He's the 23-year-old from Brazil. Well, he cut this in half, didn't he, this particular ball?
Well, he did, and he did what we've been thinking maybe he shouldn't do, drop shot straight to the forehand. But, you know, Rublev is not the same player when he moves forward in the court. He just is not. And if you can, I mean, that's a pretty adventurous way to hit a drop shot. But when he has to move forward here, rather than laterally across the court, not as much competence. I mean, you should be able to hit that as you're moving forward, hit that in the middle of the strings, and the slow motion showed that he hit it right on the side of the frame almost. Not on the frame, but certainly not in the middle of the strings. So he just doesn't feel as comfortable, does he, up there close?
As those first serve points won. Let's see how successful Rublev has been in that department. Really is the important number. So often we look at first serve percentage in a tennis match, but actually first serve percentage is kind of irrelevant when you think about it, because if you're serving at 80% but only winning 20% of the points, it's no good, is it? It's that first serve points won that matters.
Yeah, you're right.
5 out of 6 he's in this set. Well, he had his shield up for a while. Rublev eventually breaching his defences.
30 love. 40 love. Game Rublev.
Stunning half volley. Really was.
Seyboth Wild leads 4
Born
games
out
to
of
2.
frustration. You sensed as well.
Yeah. I'm not sure that was a contented game. It was a frustrated game, wasn't it?
Yeah, there was a lovely piece actually written on him last year, Fitzy, and it was a lot of anecdotes from former current players about Rublev, and really talking about what a great guy he is, what a nice guy he is, how humble he is. And
Yeah, the players, please take a seat. Thank you.
it was interesting because he said he's nice to everyone else, but he's not always nice to himself. Was kind of a very pertinent point.
Yeah, you can see that, can't you, while he's on the court.
15 up.
Yeah, they say he's a lovely guy.
Yeah, big heart. Big soul. Certainly a big game.
Got a bit of
Touch it
pep
out.
in his step, the Brazilian, hasn't he?
Well, it was that long hold that he was able to find his way through, wasn't it? Earlier in this set, that almost 10-minute game that was proved a bit of a platform. Interesting.
Can't really say things have changed.
No.
I mean, in the way he's approaching each point, Rublev just stands and delivers. You know what's coming at you.
Yeah, points played on serve in this set. It's interesting reading. The Brazilians played 41 points on serve. Rublev has played just 15. Just a game away.
Seyboth Wild leads 5 games to 2.
There's Seyboth Wild from grabbing this third set. 5-2 his lead. His debut today. Let's not forget that here at the Australian Open is this man. Only the third time that he's found himself in the main draw of a major.
Time.
There's the wonderful bridge that connects Melbourne Park. Pretty close to the CBD. Flinders Street Station, right at the end of that. And they have been streaming across it all day.
Staying in the city, Nick?
Just outside.
Okay. So you don't approach over that bridge. This is the other end of it here, coming into Margaret Court Arena on the right. Court 3 on the left, you can't see there, and then Rod Laver further in the distance past Margaret Court. One pace Charlie.
59.39. Net for serve. Net for serve. Net for serve. Game Rublev.
That's a line licker. And that's a swift hold.
Seyboth Wild leads 5 games to 3.
Gee, it looked for all money to be out with the naked eye, didn't it? It's the beauty of the technology these days.
Just 2 millimeters in, reliably informed.
Now.
Rather unnecessary interruption from the crowd, but he did really well.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain quiet during play. Thank you.
The slice here.
Yeah, nothing cynical, Nick. I think it was just a fan there thought he'd won the point. Didn't think the return was sneaking over.
In
the tone of that rally set so early by the quality of the return. Suddenly he was put on the back foot. Well, he wasn't able to wrestle it back.
Say finally, I said a finely struck drop shot. Just skimming the top of the net here. This was perfect. Fraught with some danger though, just cleared it. That angle didn't really show you how fine that was.
Game. Seyboth
The
Wild.
23-year-old has added a lot to this contest, and he is rewarded by securing set number 3. He has been able to halve the deficit. Rublev still leads by 2 sets to 1. Lorenzo Sonigo is the man that beat him on that occasion.
15 up.
This became awkward here. This ball just dropping awkwardly over, and he actually feels that ball deep really well on that occasion. He's missed a few of those.
I should just tell you some news that has just come to us in the last 10 minutes or so. And that is that Matteo Berrettini has withdrawn from this year's Australian Open with injury. Just cannot get fit, can he, Matteo?
It's a big loss.
Up.
I tell you what a talent he is, and he's played well here in the past. Zizou Bergs, the Belgian,
Yep.
who had severe cramp in his last round of qualifying, takes his place.
Game, Rublev. First game, 4 sets.
I commentated that match with Bergs against Dane Sweeney, the young Australian who finally got through, and he led a set 4-2, love 40 for 2 breaks, and when he lost that game, just started cramping. And it's hard to believe that after a set and a half.
No, when he's there.
This feels like a big game here for
Going to your bench as well.
Seyboth Wild. Real intensity there from Rublev. He came out, a couple of vamoses to his team. But I think he's a little unhappy here about the time between points. I'm not too sure what the grievance is for Rublev. But yeah, there was a real intensity to his play here. I think he's wanting to get the job done ASAP.
Out, love 15.
Just to go back to the Berrettini point, Bergs will take on Stefanos Tsitsipas tomorrow. 3 lucky losers in the men's draw now.
15 on.
Well, let's hope his body's recovered, and let's hope it stands up, because if it's a hot day and he has to play best of 5, you would be a little worried after witnessing what I witnessed in the last round of qualifying. So he was playing well too before the cramp happened.
30-15. $40-15. Let us serve.
There's the danger of not hitting a spot on the serve. That one just kind of curled into him. It was able to get a clean hit on this. You can see here. Didn't do enough to disturb the Russian.
Out game.
It was an aggressive second though.
1 game on.
This time last year, this man was ranked outside the top 400. Wasn't even close to getting in qualifying 12 months ago. So he's come a long way.
It's a big jump, isn't it? He's too good a player to be ranked down there.
Love pin.
Well, Nick, the volley just gives him too much of an opportunity. Just not enough with that volley.
Thank you.
Opened the door. Good players can drive through. That was one heck of a get, though, by the way.
Great athleticism.
Well, he's starting to believe, I think, Cole.
Well, it's the kind of point we had early in the third set, wasn't it? That just, or excuse me, it was at 5-2 in the second, wasn't it? A couple of big points from the Brazilian and suddenly energized him in the crowd, and that's when he plays his best stuff. So watch out for him here.
$15-30.
And that's good as well.
I think there's some belief happening. So his best tennis we know is good enough. Can he maintain it for long enough is the question.
$30-40.
Did he need to go for as much as he did there? That's the question, given the size of that point. Because you can see the relief on Rublev's face. You can hear it.
Nick, he played with such freedom in that third set, and up until that 30-40 point, but there was just a split second there where the moment seemed to get to him. He just froze a little, snatched at the forehand. It was a big chance. He's got to keep playing freely.
These two turning on the entertainment.
Well, I think he was lucky to get away with this. Good for him, he did. But he drop shot it across court again. And almost got himself in all sorts of trouble. Entertaining stuff, though. By the way, if you drop the shot across court, the ball has to travel further and take longer time.
Yeah.
If you go from one side of the court down the line, takes less time, travels less.
Net percent.
Is that playing freely?
That was pretty free, wasn't it? Goodness me, that thing came blazing past me. What a hit.
Yeah, that was from the grip it and rip it school. was a nice serve, wasn't it? Just took a bit of pace off, made sure he got it a little shorter up the box.
Something different.
Yeah.
Game. Rublev.
Big hole.
New balls, please.
There's certainly a much more competitive element to this match right now, and Rublev able to hang on. 2-1, he leads in the fourth.
Now.
Big team, as we mentioned. Charlie Costa on the left there, as physio. Used to travel with Tommy Haas for many years, did Charlie?
He looks too young, Charlie, to have been travelling many years with a player that's been retired for quite a while.
Yeah, Portuguese. Carlos.
Time.
Fresh off his title win in Hong Kong at the start of the year, Andrey Rublev. And this has been a tough test.
Enough.
Well, no tempering of speed at all. Such a deep serve, so difficult to make a high a percentage shot on that return.
Enough.
He's starting to have a tiny bit of self-doubt here, Rublev, or certainly would be starting to feel the odd nerve or two, I would think.
There's a lot of pace attached to that second serve, wasn't there? Over 100 miles an hour, well over 100 miles an hour.
Game 7-2. Two games on.
Two matches during the day, two matches at night on the Margaret Court Arena today. Caroline Wozniacki, the former champion, is up first this evening here.
Yeah, but you had enough ball.
This is the second time, guys, where Rublev has had a word with Timo Janssen about the shot clock. It looks like he's coming in for more of a discussion here.
Balls or no? By the rules, I need to have 6 balls, and it's not for you to decide. I'm not telling you how to call the out. So don't tell me how many balls is enough for me.
Very particular as Rublev. As you can see him saying he wants the 6 balls before he serves, to look at them all, make sure he's got the newest one.
I think specifically, Nick, he was unhappy that at the end of the previous game, when obviously the balls have to change ends, he felt that the shot clock had been started before all the balls were down at his end, and he was being rushed. I mean, he is one of the quickest players on tour anyway, Rublev, isn't he? But I think it's just a manifestation of the frustration that he's feeling out here on court, being taken to a fourth set and things getting a little interesting.
Yeah, of course, worth remembering as well that the serve clock is started really at the umpire's discretion. It's after he's called, or he or she in the chair has called the score. That is when the serve clock is officially started. Might be the case after a long rally that umpire just leaves it a couple of seconds, feeling the situation, but it's not always directly at the point's end. Showcasing his all-court tennis and doing it in some style again.
40-30. Game, Rublev.
Andrey Rublev
leads by 3-2.
hangs on. 3-2, he leads in the fourth.
He goes to the towel, he starts to come back, and then it's 25, 24, 23. I finish the point, and I just take the ball, I go straight to the set without stopping, and it's already 20 seconds left.
I don't think there's a different opinion about something.
Time.
Well, as Colin was suggesting, he's not one to hang around. Some players are a little more pedestrian between points, but Rublev is not in that category. Not a lot of thinking time. And he offers himself. The quick
Thank
work
you.
with Timo Jansen at the change of ends.
You can feel this tightening up though, can't you? It feels a little more tense now in his reactions with the umpire, but also in how close the score is starting to get here.
Was begging for that sort of move, wasn't it?
15-all.
Well, once he gets the opponent stretching here, even if it's out to the forehand wing, he has to just fend this ball back, slice it back, and that's the time to move forward.
40-15.
He's tightened up his game, hasn't he, as well? A few unforced errors coming from his racket right now.
Colin, what do you give Rublev out of 10 at the moment for how he's playing? He's missing a lot of balls, isn't he?
We discussed this earlier in the match. This is an example for me where his loss of emotional control, if you want to put it like that, is actually really significantly affecting his playing level, isn't it? The errors have crept in, the frustrations there. But equally, you know, he's serving first in this set. It only takes Seyboth Wild to switch off for one service game and things can be done and dusted. I just wonder, it's noticeably cooler now as well from the first two sets. You know, we're approaching 6 p.m. local time, and maybe that's just slowing things down 5%. That could be helping the Brazilian.
Game, Seyboth Wild. Three games all. Laver Arena.
Again, that lack of variety that Rublev has at times on the second serve, really hurting him there. Predictable.
Yeah, he's in a little bit of trouble here if he's not careful. There's an inch of daylight here for the Brazilian.
Yeah, I mentioned the temperature dropping a few degrees. That's an example. Those two second serves not getting up quite as high, and they've been punished.
$15-30.
Mentioned the rally in terms of how few there've been really long rallies. The average rally length just 4 shots. Almost 4 sets into this one.
30 all.
I just feel like that's the wrong shot. It's fraught with danger. There was a slice forehand on a big point here, 3 all, 30 all, and he chooses the most difficult shot from low in the court. Break point.
He's got on top of it again, and he is very much on the charge right now. Rublev is flustered.
Seyboth Wild leads 4 games to 3.
Are we heading for a 5th? The Brazilian has the first break of the 4th.
I just feel like his style of play and he's complaining there, I guess, to himself really, but I just feel like his style of play and his shot selection, it's not appropriate for some of the moments that come along in a tennis match, and it costs him dearly.
Yeah, he was gesturing there, you know, I'm serving to the backhand, the guy's hitting winner, winner, winner. But, you know, it's not sort of logical thinking, is it? He's got to be thinking, well, maybe I need to serve one to the forehand or into the body, or, you know, a slider instead of just the kicker. But he's just, again, he's emotional. He's frustrated, and, well, chance to go to a fifth here.
Yeah. Cole, how about going to the body a bit more often? How about taking the speed off a first serve occasionally? Something different, not the same ball every time.
When you think of Brazilian tennis, you think of Guga Kuerten, don't you? And he was asked about that on numerous occasions. Of course, a man who won Roland Garros 3 times, did Guga. One of the most effervescent players ever to reach the world #1.
Don't forget Andrey Sabalenka. Did a great job now working for Tennis Australia down here.
Yeah.
Former Brazilian pro.
Yeah, good friend of yours, isn't he?
Yeah, got to give him a shout out. Former Wimbledon quarter-finalist.
You weren't by his side that year, were you?
Yeah, who was he playing with that year, Cole?
In singles. He lost to Tiger Tim on centre court.
That's right.
Bit of revenge for Brazil beating England in the football.
Well, let's hope Rublev doesn't implode here. He's been known to do it on occasions. The pressure is building here. The Brazilian applying it well.
Look at the pace on that second delivery. Rublev is raging. Averaging 172 Ks on his second serve in this set. And he continues to build momentum, continues to pressurize the world #5. Playing with a sense of abandon.
Well, that drop shot was played really to perfection. I mean, he was pretty deep in the court, but he had Rublev behind the baseline down the other end, and he goes down the line towards the backhand side, shorter distance.
Yeah, you know a drop shot's good when it bounces about 4 or 5 times before it even gets to the service line, don't you? Well, that had some serious check. Nothing left to give in the end.
Thank you. 30-15. Thank you. Please.
He's losing his way.
Yeah.
And he's losing his marbles at the same time. And this was his reaction
30,
at
40.
the end of the previous point.
30-all. Use.
Well, he chose the wrong ball to hit again on that particular occasion, Nick. He was off balance with his body weight moving backwards, and he tries to go down the line over the high part of the net. It's just the percentages. He just doesn't get right a lot of the time. A great hitter of the tennis ball, but doesn't play the percentages enough, I don't think. So he's got himself to blame to a large degree here. Yes, Wild has really lifted his game and is starting to believe here. But I think Rublev contributing a little bit to his downfall in the last half an hour or so.
Use.
A lot they can do right now, apart from offer some encouragement.
They could probably help him with the percentages after this match a little bit.
Yep.
Advantage.
He's reading the pattern of the serve.
Seyboth Wild.
And Rublev, as a result, finds himself rushed once again. Set point.
Use. Advantage, Rublev. Again, Rublev.
Not this time. The drop shot just a little too heavy and a little too predictable. There is quite the storyline developing, though, here
Seyboth Wild leads
on
5
Margaret
games
Court
to 4.
Arena. Can the Brazilian serve this out and take us all the way?
Time.
The pedigree was there in his junior days. A man who won the US Open Juniors 5 years ago. Hasn't necessarily translated, though. to the highest level of the game. But he is threatening right here to push the world number 5 all the way.
50 love.
And deservedly so as well, Fitzy, with the way he's approached this.
Well, he tried to actually slice that backhand back into play rather than bludgeoning it, and he didn't do a great job of it either, did he? What a turnaround this is. You wouldn't have picked this, or I wouldn't have, an hour and a half ago.
30 love.
Numbers on serve have been outstanding in this 4th set. He's only lost 5 points in total on his own deal.
Well, this can happen if you play that one-dimensional way. If the other guy starts to match you, what do you do then? Where do you go to? Just go harder.
40-15.
I guess that's the only option.
What an effort from Thiago Seyboth Wild, the Brazilian, ranked 78 in the world, is pushing the world number 5 all the way, and we're down to a 5th set shootout. Rublev to begin the decider.
Out. 50 love.
Rublev's record, incidentally, in 5-set matches, 7 wins and 8 defeats. Of course, won that significant one here last year that we referenced against Holger Rune in the last 16.
30-15.
Came back from the brink that afternoon, saving those 2 match points.
Turn the over.
You'd have to say he's channeling the anger in the wrong direction at the moment, wouldn't you?
Certainly feels that way.
$40-30. Game, Rublev. First game,
Well,
final
hopefully,
set.
got some way to settling him down. What will he have tried to tell himself at the end of that set, Flitzy?
Well, I think, you know, as Colin mentioned earlier, that he just needs to control his emotions. too many negative thought processes, I think, coming through his mind at the moment, and he needs to gather his thoughts here very quickly, because the Brazilian is playing well.
One game.
Thiago's lifted his game and I think his belief too. He actually thinks he can win this now.
One more.
Love the team.
Well, that's the type of ball I think
Love the
Seyboth Wild was making in the fourth set. He defends against the power of Rublev, gets an opportunity to actually hurt his opposition himself, and this time misses it. Played that so well in the fourth.
Good job.
Certainly showing signs here of imploding is Rublev. This is dangerous territory for him. And the Brazilian continues to serve well.
40-30.
Setting up that forehand of his.
Game. Seyboth Wild.
What a turnaround. Love 30. That will hurt the mental application of Rublev, you would think.
Went for a little too much.
50 now.
Almost went for a Hail Mary from a long way back.
Dirty now.
Only a good number of first deliveries so far in this final set. 6 from 8 he's made.
40 now.
A swift hold from Andrey Rublev.
Rublev leads by 2-1.
He maintains his early lead in this fifth set.
Time.
Fantastic look from up above. We are just to the left there inside the MCA. Andrey Rublev, who hasn't lost in the first run of a major since Roland Garros back in 2021. And he was beaten by Jan-Lennard Struff that day.
Love 15.
A rally very much out of keeping with the match as a whole. It has been Rublev that has won the majority of the longer rallies, though, so far. In fact, rallies over 9 shots. He leads 16-6. There's the Russian.
A wild one there. It just seems that Rublev has steadied the ship a little bit here.
Emotionally, more than anything.
I think so, yeah. And that'll help him keep the ball in those few times longer. He's on thin ice, though. Oh, no, a big mistake. And a really poor attempt. I just, sorry, don't have any sympathy for losing this point after this. I mean, yes, he's made a mistake, but don't do this. I think you deserve to lose the point. What a time to do it. Love 40 now. After battling so hard to get back into this match. He's got some talent, hasn't he?
Yeah. They're not too far off in terms of their average pace off the forehand wing. There's only a couple of kilometers an hour in it over the course of the match. Rublev with just a little more. And that is a clinical finish.
Well, I like his variety. He's got more than Rublev.
30-14.
But my heart's still in my mouth after that love 30 point to take him to love 40. He's played 2 really good points since then, but this is the one. The ability to shut out what had gone before. I still would have been feeling guilty about the love 30 point, Nick.
And yet again, the Brazilian has the answer.
Advantage, Seyboth Wild.
Well, this became apparent. You could tell it was going wide enough for him to attempt this, but you've got to be good enough to do it around the net post.
Again.
What a game. Is that the game
Seyboth Wild.
that we will remember most?
Well, he extricates himself out of some serious danger. Well, that was some escape act.
Thank you.
Crowd's starting to get on Andrey a little bit. He's having a crack at his coaches. I think they might be used to it a bit.
Yeah.
With his personality.
30-15.
This is not their first rodeo. It's fair to say.
Raging bull.
Yeah. So we have had one 5-setter already today. Francisco Cerundolo coming back to beat Dane Sweeney earlier on in the day, and 6-2 in the 5th.
Again, Rublev. Rublev leads 3-2.
Trying to keep his focus firmly on the job at hand here and avoid an early slip up. Well, this was that extraordinary point once again. And again, the ability to slide here just doing him such a favour.
He'd come back from love 40 to juice at that moment. It all came together, didn't it, for the Brazilian? You don't get to experience that round the post too often, I don't think, in your career. So what a moment to do it. And he's in this match with a chance now.
Yeah, the benefit of having the single sticks in here, isn't it, as opposed to the doubles, where, of course, so often on tour we have the doubles nets that extend beyond the sideline. Worth remembering that this man, not that man, the man on court, has only ever had one hard court victory in his entire career at the highest level, Fitzy.
That's hard to believe.
That was when he played for his country.
Let for serve.
Against a lowly ranked opponent as well.
Love 15.
Been a good ticket to have on MCA today, hasn't it? Of course, Krejcikova snuck through in 3 on the opener.
Good variety again. Second serve, a sneak in there with a serve and volley. I like the way he's thinking.
Yeah, he's 23 of 31 in the forecourt today, by the numbers that are in front of us.
Yeah, I like his backhand volley. It's simple. He doesn't overcomplicate it. Just lays the racket face open. Not a big swing, no backswing. And he's accurate with it.
30-15.
Well, and if he keeps serving like this, he's going to be hard to beat in this fifth.
Well, he missed the 4 first serves so far. 14 of 18 he's made in this third. He's only lost the 3 when he has made it.
Game, Seyboth Wild. 3 games all.
Amazingly, he just looks a little more dangerous to me now. It's whether he can hold his nerve, I think. This would be certainly one of the biggest wins of his life if he could pull this off. Imagine that, from 2 sets to love down.
Yeah, there's the numbers in terms of the overall picture with the serve. You can see the significant difficulties he's having defending the second.
Well, probably chastising himself there for dropping that too short. If you drop it short to the Rublev forehand, you know he's going to go for it.
$30 love.
Surprising, he didn't actually get the forehand into play, just didn't give himself enough room, took his own time away.
Game, Rublev.
And that is a no-nonsense hold from last year's quarter-finalist, who's having to dig very deep right now. Well, he's got the experience, no doubt about that.
Well, he has, Nick, and he's serving first. I think that takes a bit of pressure off him. If he can keep his nose in front, he won't have quite as many negative thoughts. But gee, he's been ordinary at times here, has Rublev. He's brought himself down to a large degree, I think, with the emotions, the negative ones. But all it takes is a couple of good games from here.
Time.
This guy's been an entertaining watch today. Serving 3-4.
Take it out.
Yeah, maybe the lack of winning points on his second serve is encouraging him to go for more on that second ball. He's pulled it off a few times in this match, but you've got to be careful.
Again, at times his lack of composure, his lack of understanding on the forecourt has cost him dearly.
Yeah, and the wrong approach. You know, tactically this is just wrong. Straight to the opposition's forehand, and he has to hit almost a reflex volley in return. Amazing for a player who's ranked 5. It's because he can do that. He's just such an incredible hitter of the tennis ball.
30 all.
It's got him this far. So a dangerous moment here.
Been a few of those, haven't there, on serve that he has worked his way through.
He's holding his nerve, isn't he, the young Brazilian, so far.
Exceptional.
Again.
He's hit the drop shot consistently. At times it hasn't always paid dividends, but the feel he had on this one
4 games all.
was something else.
Out 15 up.
Well,
30 up.
at this stage of the match, I know he's compelled to go for this forehand. It's his biggest weapon, but gee, they're two massive misses, aren't they, in the first 2 points here? And handing Rublev an easy game. At 4-all on the 5th.
Game, Rublev.
Yeah, he's only lost 3 points on serve in 5 holds in this 5th set, has Andrey Rublev. A break here will see him through. Been absorbing stuff, hasn't it?
Well, it has. It's an interesting comeback. He's done so well, hasn't he, to get all the way back, but gee, he gave away a couple of easy ones there at 4-all in the 5th set when it all matters. This would be, you'd think, a breakthrough match for the young Brazilian if he could get through here. And for Rublev, well, it would be a big, big loss by his standards in the first round of a major. What do you think? Can Rublev get out of jail here? I guess he can. No doubt he can, but really,
time will tell.
Please.
Really get the width, did he, on the serve? It was kind of right where he wanted it, Rublev.
And Wilders, he sprayed 3 forehands in the last 5 points by a long way. Oh, and then he does that. You can't read him at all.
15 all.
He's got nerves of steel, Nick.
I'm not sure he's got any nerves. How bold was this attempt?
Well, that second serve was 190 Ks. I think he feels that he's losing most of the points if he just hits a regular second serve into play, so he's prepared to risk it.
Took the more difficult option, didn't he, with the drive volley, a ball that was dropping pretty quickly, Fitzy.
Well, it might be the more difficult option for a conventional volleyer, but for him, I think he feels safer with it. No doubt he does.
Yep.
Okay,
99% out, but 100% in. Yet again, the Brazilian throws the kitchen sink. But there's a and comes up with the goods.
Rublev gives him a running forehand. And one thing he's got is power on that wing. If it comes out of the middle of the racket, he gets a lot of forward speed. Is it his day?
Thank you.
Forced forwards. This time he just about has enough.
15 up. He's
only given Seyboth Wild 5 looks at second serves in this 5th set. Such has been the quality of his delivery.
14 up. Again,
another clinical ball from Andrey Rublev. We are one game away from a 10-point tiebreak to settle these two.
Time.
Looked for a while as though it might be a relatively comfortable afternoon for Andrey Rublev. It has turned out very differently for one of the best players in the sport.
Love 15.
Didn't he do well? He measured the forehand to perfection.
Love 13.
Yeah, and he went the right way this time, Nick. He didn't hook it into the running forehand. Wild can do less with that backhand wing than the running forehand, that's for sure. Love 30. Danger. Gee, this is happening fast though, isn't it? It doesn't take much.
Love 14.
What a contest. 3.5 hours. These two have locked horns. Rublev with match points. He's not lacked for courage
15-14.
when the chips have been down. Would you believe it? The boldest of second serves again for Thiago.
That must have been on the outside of the line.
30-14.
It's a fine margin. One match point remaining.
Please.
Well, he's fearless at the moment.
Use.
192 Ks down the middle, near the line. Second serve on match point down. Courage. One too many.
Hadn't really done enough to outmaneuver Rublev prior to it, did he, either?
That's right. And he had the alternative was his favourite shot, an easy forehand.
Use. Advantage. Seyboth Wild. Again, Seyboth Wild.
Truly remarkable from the 23-year-old Brazilian, who does take us all the way here on the Margaret Court Arena.
Ladies and gentlemen, a 10-point tiebreak will now be played to decide the match. 6 games all tiebreak. Thank you, behind the players. Can you please take a seat? Thank you.
play. Well, he was shaping for the drop shot. He made Rublev move forward, anticipating it. And then he just followed through with the slice forehand. Pretty incredible shot.
Seyboth Wild.
Perfect start to the breaker.
Well, he must be believing now. After saving those match points, Nick, you'd think he'd be starting to think this is destiny for him. But these 10-point tiebreakers are a long way away.
(3-1) Seyboth Wild.
If it happens again, I will do something, yeah.
Well, he took a big cut at the return. He's taken a big cut at so many things when the pressure's been on.
4-1.
Nick, we mentioned this halfway through the fifth set. If he keeps serving at this level, he's going to be hard to beat. Now he's got 2 mini breaks. If the serve holds up, he's in the box seat.
Thank you. Seyboth Wild.
Well, an appropriate point from Rublev there.
Much needed ball as well to try and steady the ship.
(5-2) Seyboth Wild. Please. 5-3 Seyboth Wild. (5-4)
Well, the deficit's reduced.
Seyboth Wild. Thank you. Let. Second serve.
Oh, would you believe it? He had the point at his mercy.
Yeah, that's a massive miss, isn't it?
6-4.
That's tension. Gee, these 10-point tiebreakers are long. You know, they're so different to a 7-point tiebreaker. Seems to go on forever. When you get your nose in front, the finish line is still so far away. Well, the backhand volley that served him so well. It was an easy one.
6-5.
It was low, but it was easy.
Seyboth Wild.
Gee, the drama of it all now.
Yeah, we've not been short on that, have we, in the last couple of hours here? This has been utterly absorbing.
He was there easy for that, Nick.
6-all.
I don't know why he had to throw that forehand away. But Rublev is trying to stand firm, and his coaches are beside themselves, you'd think.
He's clawed his way back here, though. And this breaker, first to 10, remember. Marcus Demorna, the Brazilian doubles player, on the left-hand side, watching on.
Thank you. Seven, 6. Rublev.
Wow, what a turnaround from 4-1.
Thank you.
How well has Rublev done there, under pressure?
Well, he has,
8-6 Rublev.
but the percentage chances of this shot working are very low. That had to be a push deep into the corner. I mean, that's a low percentage shot. I can't believe he tried that. What a turnaround.
9-6 Rublev.
He's won 8 points to 2 from being 4-1 down here.
Incredible.
So 3 match points now to the number 5 seed.
Thank you. Game,
What a win for Andrey Rublev, who was pushed all the way by the 23-year-old Brazilian. But the world number 5 needs 5 to prevail in a final set tiebreak.
Well, what an emotional roller coaster ride for Rublev. He looked almost home at 2 sets to love. It didn't look like he was in any danger at all. And then nearly his worst nightmare evolved. The applause is for Thiago Seyboth Wild. That match will remain with him for a long time. Almost, but not quite. So Rublev prevails. The relief is palpable.
Well, Andrey, there's one word written all over your face, and that is relief. You've got through in 5 sets. The first time you've played Thiago, I'm sure you're not going to forget that one in a long time.
Yeah, for sure, I will not forget this one. When I was not even on the urge of the losing the first match, I was failing already, you know, and in the last moment someone catch me. So yeah, for sure I will not forget this match. And Thiago is super dangerous player, super talented, and when he's with the right mood and feeling the ball well, we can see him, and he's hitting so hard, so clean, and it's so tough to beat him.
We know he knocked off Medvedev last year. He's come and pushed you to 5 sets, so he can obviously play. What makes him so tricky, do you think?
I don't know, but in my head was a lot of times Daniil match of Roland Garros, and I was already thinking in the 5th set when the match was, I had so many opportunities and I couldn't make it. I was thinking, okay, for sure we're gonna see the same story like Daniil at Roland Garros. And then, I don't know, when I was losing 4-1, I already mentally I give up, and maybe that's what helped me in the end, because I feel a bit relieved that, okay, then it's not my day, and I hit really good few shots, few returns, and what makes him so difficult to play is that he's soaring really hard. You can see he was soaring so hard, both serves, first and second, not many double faults, and hitting the ball really hard and clean. He could hit winner from any position, and that's what makes him really tough to beat.
All that matters is you are through to the second round. You've taken over 3.5 hours to do that. These sort of wins can end up setting up your tournament. You've done it in 5 sets in the first round. Now you can go away and take something out of this match. You don't have to answer that, that's fine. And you know what, I know it's tough as well, because as you probably know at the Australian Open, we love barracking for an underdog. The crowd turns, they want to see someone come up. Doesn't mean they don't like you. The crowd's on your side, don't worry.
I understand perfect, of course. When you see tough matches, of course, it's more interesting than when you see more easy matches. So of course, when someone is losing, crowd start to support him to have a more difficult match. And your support today almost make me lose the first round. Huh? But I understand everything perfect. So thank you so much for supporting the players that you like, and thank you for coming to watch tennis.
Andrey Rublev through to the second round. Congratulations. Go and get some rest, ladies and gentlemen. Let's hear it for the number 5 seed through to the second round.
Thank you, Margaret, for bringing us here. Please do take your luggage with you. Appreciate that. Thank you for coming and supporting the tennis. We'll see you back here very shortly.